Welcome to the Nerd Party.
I'm Darren Moser.
I'm Philip Gilfus.
I'm Daniel Prue.
And this is City Alpha 3.
Hello and welcome to City Alpha 3, a Star Trek podcast here on the Nerd Party. I'm Philip, joined by Daniel and Darren, and we continue in an era of no real new Star Trek. I mean, you know, Prodigy Season 2 is on Netflix, so if it's new to you, keep on watching. But as far as anything coming out or anything that we know coming out in this calendar year of 2024, I mean, that's it, right? No, nothing that we know of.
Dry time.
Enjoy what you got, kids.
Yep.
You got Star Trek at home. So, Darren, any other Star Trek you are enjoying in this time of a rest in the franchise, maybe?
Yeah, no, just we'll probably, honestly, working on finishing Prodigy, and then, I'm not sure. I've started to get a little bit of an itch to rewatch some classic Berman era Trek. I'm not sure what yet, so we'll find something.
TNG season 1's pretty good. All right. And then, Daniel, what about you? You doing any trekking?
No, I haven't for a bit, but I do. Yeah, since I know we're gonna be talking about Prodigy soon. I gotta get back on the wagon and catch the rest of that season. No, other than that, I have not been doing anything Star Trek related.
Yeah, I'm not going to look out and Google it right now. I am as I've said before, I've been watching Doctor Who, the first Doctor, and I'm on his third season. And I think I'm nearing the end. So as soon as I finish that, I don't know, I'll have to figure out what to do, because it's sort of like a TAS situation, Darren, where his fourth series is like 2 stories and then he regenerates. And then it's the second Doctor. So it's like, well, do I just finish the first Doctor? But anyway, then I'm going to go do season 2 of TNG. So I'm kind of breaking my
you're splitting them up, huh? Your
between series. That one.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
So
don't get confused.
Yeah. But as I was sort of thinking about this, because I'm sort of like, instead of doing real work, I concentrate on this instead of like, okay, what am I going to watch? So I'm like, okay, TNG season 2. And then as I'm about on social networking, it was either on Twitter or Facebook, someone had referenced season 2 TNG, which I've thought about this before in the past. And they're like, man, season 2, like new Doctor, new Tin Forward, new Guinan, and it's like, I mean, a lot of new stuff happens in season 2 of
That's
TNG.
A good point. Like, it's hard to remember back then, but and now in the context of what we all know, we know that a lot of that was just kind of a blip. But yeah, that's true. Like, imagine watching a new show nowadays and then so much changes in the second season. You'd be like, oh my gosh, like, what is going on?
In Yellow, Geordi gets promoted, sent to engineering. I mean, it's a whole bunch of new stuff. So that got me thinking about, and of course, TNG itself, how much a series changes. And some do and some don't. So I thought that would be our topic today, talking about each Star Trek series and how much change, or how much it changed or evolved or de-evolved, or whatever verb you want to use that means change, across its span, whatever you want to call it. We can either come up with a score or just say a lot, a little, whatever. Don't make me be a PhD person and code it into variables.
Is it going to be like a Pulaski score on a scale of 1 Pulaski to 0 Pulaskis? How much did it change?
I think
either data or data.
On that scale, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So why not start at the beginning? And we'll kind of we'll just talk everything, but we'll kind of start the discussion round robin style. I'm throwing this on you, but anyway. So I'll start with TOS, which I would say it depends how you categorize TOS, and how you want to think about it, which is up to you. But this is my dilemma, because there's sort of TOS as it aired, which I know is all before our time, but TOS as it aired, which is like, I think the second season and third season were kind of in order, but first season was like they threw it all up in the sky and picked it up, and that's how they aired it. Because like the second pilot, Where No Man Has Gone Before, is like the 4th episode. So like you're watching it, and then suddenly one episode they all change uniforms, and then who's this Gary Mitchell guy, and then the next episode they're back. But I'm going to take a holistic view, which is my choice. You don't have to. If you take it from the cage and then to where no man has gone before, and then to regular maybe TOS that you think of, I mean, did it change a lot? But it didn't change zero either. So I don't know. That's sort of how I'm looking at it, so far. So like, a little, or like a 3, but I don't know. So, Daniel, what's your sort of thought about how much did TOS change over its 3 years?
Yeah, I mean, someone like, we know those fans that are super duper TOS people. That is not me. So, but some people will definitely probably chime in and say that I'm wrong or maybe under reporting. But in my brain, it's sort of all the same. Like you say, like in the very, very early couple of episodes, it's very like weird and fuzzy, and rules are different, and things are. But like after it settles, a couple of episodes in, I feel like if I didn't know the order of TOS or at least some of it, like if you threw a season 3 episode in, I wouldn't be able to tell. Like, I wouldn't know. It's still kind of the same to me. So to me, I don't think it changed significantly. Like, there's no, I guess, Chekhov, right? He comes in season 2. He's a character that does change. So there's at least a new character that sort of denotes some sort of change. But other than that, like, I can't think of any big major, like, people changes or anything like that. And unless I'm forgetting something, there's nothing like major that happens that shakes things up, or there's no brand new sets or anything like that. It's all sort of the same. So I don't know. I don't think it changes much. That's for sure.
Yeah, Yeoman Rand. I don't know exactly when, but vaguely she disappears after season 1. So, but that would be the other flip. But Darren, what about you for TOS changes?
Yeah.
Factor.
I mean, I'm pretty sure. Again, TOS is like my least knowledgeable series, but I don't think Kirk gets like the green wraparound until later.
That's true.
So that's a little bit of a uniform, but yeah, for the most part, I mean, all the shots of the outside of the Enterprise are the same. Like none of that changes. So yeah, it's maybe, and like, I agree with you, Daniel, on like the set changes, but I kind of feel like they might have gotten a little bit bigger engineering or something like that. I think progressed throughout the season. I can't imagine they didn't add any sets over 3 years, but they could have. Like it's really hard to say. But yeah, it's so funny because I almost feel like obviously it's a product of its time and it's very episodic, but I almost feel like it's strange watching Strange New Worlds now, which is so much more connected, like episode to episode. And it's still episodic in a way, like a next gen kind of way. But I kind of feel like TOS would have benefited more from a throughput story, or at least how Strange New Worlds does it, than it did. Obviously, that's like rewriting history, but I think that would have been an interesting change.
And it's hard to, well, I mean, maybe it's not hard, but it's semi-hard to be objective about if say you're watching TOS in production order or air order, you pick whatever you want to do. But this whole, because we just think, oh, Kirk, Spock, and McCoy. But like that, like McCoy doesn't get, DeForest doesn't even get billing until the 3rd season. Like as far as in the open, because the only the credits are William Shatner, Leonard Nimoy, and that's it. And then 3rd season they had D. So like that trio dynamic, evolved. Obviously, they didn't just like, oh, we know this is what it's going to be day one. And then I don't know. It's obviously it's very small. I'm not going to say like they did some big swing or something, but obviously they had to find what kind of show they were. But yeah, it's not anything huge as far as anything else. No, yeah. Okay.
And even I know that there was famously some, but like the production was largely the same, right? Like Gene Ren, the whole for all 3 years and all that sort of stuff. Like I think that sort of stuff too, even because it just feels the same. It's just sort of like, and it's only 3 seasons too, so it's like they didn't even have that much time to change really. So it's like. And obviously, by the 3rd season, they were sort of on the ropes.
Although, if you think about number of episodes, like that's like 6 seasons of Strange New Worlds. Like there's over 20 episodes per season.
73 episodes, 78, and 70 something sticks in my head for
yeah.
So,
but one season of TOS had at least twice the number of episodes as like a modern Trek would have. Come on, Google, why don't you know when I do TOS?
All right. Well, Daniel, do you want to kind of just frame TNG for us, and then we'll?
Yeah, sure. I mean, it's a little show that most people probably don't. Now, of course, I mean, there's it definitely, we probably know it the best, but and it has some storied history. Of course, we've watched all of the bridge one. What was it called? What's it called? The Chaos on the Bridge. When all that sort of stuff is going on.
Another spoiler, but like, I was watching Prodigy, and the word wackadoo does get used, and I wonder, they got to be making that reference.
So yeah, I mean, TNG obviously, premiered in 1987, and the first two seasons are famously very different than from 3 on. So I definitely think this will be in the running for like at least most changes that we notice, or that because we all lived through it at the time too as well, and of course it had the full 7-year span. So lots of changes. Although, and we can get into it, I would argue seasons 3 to 7 pretty uniform. They're pretty. Once they found their groove, they settled in. They settled into it, and they went with it. So TNG. What do you think, Darren?
Well, I'm first going to answer Philip's question because I found thank you, Wikipedia, for a nice list of every series and how many episodes they had. So yeah, original series had 79 episodes. Enterprise had 98, so it had slightly more. But then we kind of fall off a cliff, and Discovery had 65, and Lower Decks and Prodigy are sitting at 40, and Stranger Worlds is only at 20. So.
Wait, how many did Discovery have?
Discovery had 65.
So less than TOS, even though it was on air 3 times as long. It felt like. So
well, 5 seasons, so 3 to 5 seasons, but
they took breaks and stuff, so they were definitely
and the number of episodes, for sure. Yeah. That's a good point. Yeah, Discovery was 2017 to 2024. Whereas original series was 66 to 69, so they did it much faster back then. But to your other question about changes with TNG, what we already kind of said about season 2, like that's obviously the biggest of changes. But I would say it's almost in a DS9 way, because later seasons, like some of the things they try to set up for DS9, like the Maquis, that's kind of different, like setting up this kind of new species very late in the series and explaining, fleshing out Cardassians more and Maquis more, Bajorans, introducing that species. So, it's not changing the format of the show, but I would say things like that, where they're trying to prep for the next iteration, is a bit of a change.
Yeah, it's hard. Because I feel like we're always slightly TNG defensive, because people are like, oh, it's so episodic, it's all the same. And we're like, no, it's totally different. There's lots of character arcs. You just got to look at it. Here's a magnifying glass. But roughly, to be crude, season 1 and 2 you can put on this side, and then 3 and 7 that side. I think Picard does change. Not radically, but he does change. And again, that's a 1-2 versus 3-7. But it's there. It's not there.
Well, and I think we're trying to claim differences besides actors becoming comfortable in their roles, because you're always going to get that in that first season or 2 of any show in Star Trek.
You have the Riker beard period versus the not Riker beard period.
That's an interesting line to cut on, but you're right.
Well, and to be fair too, we're kind of lumping them together, but season 1 and season 2 are very different from each other. So it was like there was a lot of changes going into season 2, and then of course even more changes going into season 3. Obviously the writing and the production itself, but there's just a lot. There's just a lot that evolves and changed. So it's almost it's tough to sort of like, you don't want to lump them together. Is what I'm saying. It's just that because they're different from each other.
I'm going to have those. I'm going to find, I don't think they exist. I'm going to find those like TNG fans, kind of like Enterprise, which we'll get to about. I feel like Enterprise fans are going to have definite places where they fall in as far as seasons. But I want like the TNG diehards that are like, no collars, as it was meant to be, TNG purists. They ruined it after season 3. It's supposed to be synth music and spandex uniforms.
I don't know if they exist. I mean, you could wear those uniforms for sure.
And then just have like a keytar with you. So cool. All right. And then Darren, before I get you to do DS9, briefly, I mean, you can take as long as you want, but I just figure it would be brief. What would you say? How much did TAS change, in your opinion?
I mean, actually, it'd be interesting. It's easier to take TAS and just lump it with the original series because it's rightly so often called just season 4 of the original series. Just happens to be animated. So yeah, I mean, obviously the biggest change, if you look at it in that light, is more aliens. Just the things that you can do with an animation budget visually versus practicality. Yeah, that sideways motion, life belts, all that stuff. So there's quite a few changes in those 22 episodes. Still more episodes than Strange New Worlds at the time of this recording. Just putting that out there. They're winning by 2, but I don't think that's going to last much longer.
Cool. All right. So you want to frame DS9 for us, Darren?
Yeah. Episodic television, what's that? We got some long-form story. But again, I say that, yet it's not like modern long-form story. It's not like...
it's not 10 episodes.
It's not like Battlestar Galactica, like the reboot, which was much more... like it. There are definitely shows now that we all can think of them where you wouldn't really pull out a single episode. It's very rare. Like there's maybe one in a season where you'd be like, okay, that's kind of a standalone that I might rewatch for fun. But otherwise you feel like, oh, I need to watch the whole season. It's like you said, Philip, it's only 10 episodes, so it's very easy. But I think, yeah, DS9 is in that sweet spot of you're still episodic television, but you're allowing your characters to develop and change. I mean, my goodness, the difference between Quark in season 1 versus season 7, the difference between Miles, any of our main characters have grown, adding Worf. I would have to say that's kind of a line in the sand. If I had to pick it, it's the pre-Worf days. And remind me, was it season 4?
When they discovered Worf.
They discovered Worf.
Before his contact.
It's the start of season 4.
So 3 seasons and then season 4 onward. I think that's a bit of a line. I mean, some would say the Dominion War, but really we're building up to that through the entire show in a way. It's just the climax of that arc. So I think the Worf effect is a and we're also getting. I need to remind myself when we got the Defiant, because I think that was a little season 3. Okay, so it's like a time release. We get a ship. And then we get a Klingon to put on the ship, and then that's really
a war to put the Klingon in,
and then a war to put the ship and the Klingon in. I mean, they knew what they were doing. But even though the Defiant is a line, I think Worf is a stronger difference between pre-Worf and post-Worf.
You mentioned how much characters grow, and I think Jake actually grew 2 feet.
Yeah.
So we're talking a lot of growth over 7 years. Is all I'm saying.
I mean, he kept that bus seat print company in massive profits for all those 7 years.
Yeah, because I mean, and people can define change however they want to, but like I'm not even trying to think character growth because that's quote unquote normal in a show. It's more like Stark
should be.
Yeah, well, it should. Yeah. But like to me, as far as the shows we have talked about in order so far, I think DS9 has the most change. I mean, as far as
uniforms.
Yeah, and I think, and again, we're slightly joking, but not really. I mean, Sisko's appearance, like beard, not beard, hair, not hair, like that's sort of the Rikers beard of it all. Because, and you can say it's them getting comfortable both behind the scenes and in front of the camera. But like, it's not a radically different show, but it is a different show. Than, hey, we're just on the station, still Star Trek. You have to
kind of judge it differently than all other Star Trek shows. It's in its own category.
Like as Niners, which I like the show, but I don't love the show. But like Niners, I wonder when they're trying to get people into it, do they say started a season or do they like?
That's a really good question.
Just get through the first 2 seasons and then it's like Babylon 5.
I feel like we did this. Like, didn't we do an episode where we like had our introductions to each show, like a short list of where to start? I feel like in the 300-ish episodes, almost 400 episodes that we've done,
never repeated a topic. Don't check.
I do think it is pretty. People do generally would recommend like season 4 as a starting point with Warrior and stuff like that, just because, because the beginning of the show is a bit slower, that build up is it's tough when people are used to like jumping into like say modern television, like Breaking Bad or something, where something hits.
It starts so much stronger, so much faster,
and it's like Deep Space Nine definitely takes a while to get going for sure. So. I definitely recognize why somebody would sort of say, "Hey, start here," then you can go back and like watch the rest as filler. Like you can see it like build later on when you know the characters and like characters and all that sort of stuff.
Niner complaints for calling the first season 3 seasons filler. Send to Daniel at OneUpDan. It's the number 1, not the word.
Well, that's interesting. Just describe it that way, because I could see some people saying, whether it's TNG or whatever, just skip that season and start here. But I like how you said it, Daniel, of start at 4, watch the whole thing, then go back, and then you'll appreciate it. Because and again, not my favorite series, but it's not like we're saying, or I don't think any of us are saying that like the first 2 seasons are dud. I mean, there's stuff there, obviously. I can't think of like the famous ones with like the Cardassian prisoner guy and. That's season 1, I believe, and then like the Circle trilogy and Maquis and all that stuff, 1 through 3, all that stuff. But yeah, as far as the sort of the speed and the focus and even the look and it sort of gels a little. But it's a late bloomer, right? I mean, I think that's DS9.
Yeah, I think that's fair to say.
It's not like it took us a season that like it took, and I don't even want to go all behind the scenes, just as a viewer. It took a while to get to, as you look at season 7, you're like, it took probably season 3, 4 to really get where they wanted to get.
And again, I think that's also the big difference in DS9 is, I mean, think of coming from TNG as a writer, like you're a writer or you're developing this show and it's very Planet of the Week and Adventure of the Week. And, it's Star Trek. It's you go to a new place and you tell a new story. And it took them a while to kind of realize.
Don't go to a new place.
Right. Well, that's what I'm saying is they kind of try that in the beginning where it's like, the people just come to them. And that kind of works in season 1. I'm looking at you, Waddy, with your Alan Moraine. But I think where DS9 really starts to thrive is when they realize, it really is a story about this corner of the galaxy, this frontier town, and it's kind of
frontier,
separate.
Darren. Some of us live here.
I know, gosh. but really, it's about that story in this corner because if you think about it, we don't really talk about the rest of the Federation. Like, besides the random trip to Risa or Earth, like we're not interacting with other, Trek aliens nearly as much. Like, obviously we see Romulans and we see Cardassians and Klingons. Like, I understand that. But I'm saying the focus becomes what is the story of this place. It's a place story, and once they really get on that wagon train, then it really takes off. So I'm oversimplifying, obviously, a little, but
yeah, it's just the nature of Deep Space Nine, where it was like you mentioned earlier, Darren. It was trying to sort of straddle the line. It was trying to it finds a way to sort of be both episodic and serialized. And it was pushing that serialization further than we had seen up to that point, really, in Star Trek. So, but it does it really well, almost too well. Where it's like we mentioned, like the first couple of seasons, yeah, it's a slow burn. It's a lot of character. It's a lot of groundwork that's being very deliberately and clearly laid for what happens later on in the series. So, of course, if you're dropping somebody into Deep Space Nine. The back half of it is going to have more payoff. It's going to be more immediately watchable and more more reward you're going to get out of seeing it. But that early stuff is not by no means bad. But it just by the nature of it, the whole show is literally changing the entire time. Like the show is always evolving and growing. I would argue it's literally building up until the Dominion War. So lots of changes for sure.
I think you really nailed it with the word payoff. And I think that's probably why we love the end of DS9 so much. Like, we're like, oh my gosh, the last 10 episodes, the last season, like it all comes together. I mean, slight bits of plot, but for the most part, like, yeah, it's all payoff for years of story buildup. And fortunately, they landed it and we didn't have a, Game of Thrones situation.
Well, depending on how you feel about Cisco. But yeah,
we didn't go crazy and kill everybody on the station, but and one other thing I will say about DS9 is, I mean, we joke about like it being long form and not episodic, yet I do remember an episode or two where like the founders like sabotaged and like blew up a portion of the outer docking ring, which I think was fixed within like 2 episods.
There's a guy floating in space with a piece of scrap to start the next episode.
Welder,
it's like,
So I was like, as much credit as I give DS9, I'm like, it still fell into the everything's back to status quo by, the end of an episode or 2 at most. But I'm like, because how cool would that have been if for the rest of the show, which I think at that point would have been like a season and a half or something, at most, you have this huge chunk missing of the station. I think that would have been, you update the graphics. Like, I understand the financial commitment to that kind of a change, but I think that would have been awesome.
Ooh, that idea might come back later. Something on the ship changing or not. But maybe we'll talk about it.
Sure. Well, any final DS9 thoughts?
Yeah, Daniel's already talking about Voyager now, so we got.
Well, I was going to say, speaking of reset button, I'll kick off Voyager here. And look, I don't know. I feel I can say this, but maybe I'm wrong. I'm probably the person who loves Voyager the most here. But I mean, I would argue, as far as Voyager, for me, it's a show that found itself immediately. To me, I mean, there was no finding. Like, this is it. We are this crew. We are voyaging home.
Needing to be found.
These are the characters, and we're going to be doing this for the whole 7 years.
Yeah. What's the show about? Well, let me show you Caretaker, and that's pretty much what it's going to be about.
Where we're at. Yep.
I mean, and again, I don't, and you can, but don't want to talk character development because there is. I mean, I would argue there is. Doctor, I mean, for one thing, that's the biggest character development shoot. Doesn't show up till like the 5th episode or something. And even Kess too. But anyway, I won't go into it. But as far as like overall changes, I mean, yes, 7. I mean, Kess leaves, 7 arrives. So if you wanted to divide Voyager that way, you could, I suppose. I mean, to me, there's not a tenor change in as much as, unless you just want to say like, oh, well, then they start to focus more on Janeway and 7 and the Doctor, and becomes that more of a show, which that's an argument. But as far as overall, to me, I don't think that show changes. I mean, if we're looking at like now DS9 and TNG, I would rank Voyager below them as far as change factor. But what do you think?
I mean, they didn't even change the uniforms. They didn't.
And they had the perfect opportunity.
The only, so far, to date,
7 changed their uniform more than anyone else.
That's for sure.
Other than TOS, I'm talking live action. the only series to date that did not change its opening titles. TNG had 2. DS9 changed its music. Voyager, same music, same opening, all 7 years.
But to be fair, that is a beautiful opening. Music
is with perfection.
Yeah, you don't have to change it at all. Yeah. Philip will look at this one way. I will certainly look at it the exact opposite way. But I do, I mean, to be fair, it's a remarkable amount of consistency with Voyager. Like you say, what you see in the beginning is very, very close to what you get throughout the whole show. And like you said, I guess the one big divide would be pre and post 7. And I guess that's when Voyager got a little sexier, kind of, I guess. Like, that's what they were trying to do.
I read that TV guide. I know what I'm supposed to feel.
I can see, like, the executive meeting, like, we want to sex up Voyager. And they're like, okay. Like, and then they do that. Like, no,
what are the sexiest characters?
Metaphorically, oh, boy.
They're like, what's the sexiest character? Well, the Borg. I'm like, really? Really? That's the one you think
you are
of?
Sick.
Yeah.
You're a sick guy.
Tubes everywhere. It's like, what?
All right, hire her and then you're fired.
Alabaster skin. No, they're like look like zombies, dude. And then they show them a sketch of 7 and 9. They're like, oh, okay, I get what you're doing.
You got your little hentai Borg art you were doing in the corner there. Okay.
You weirdo.
But
I mean, we're going to do it. But yeah, weird.
No, yeah, it's weird, yeah. I'm just picturing that meme where it's like they're in the conference room and then the one person says something on the end of the table and the next shot is them like flying out the window being, tossed. It's like how do we make Voyager better? It's like, what about we bring the Borg? And it's like, yeah, no, I think you're totally right, Daniel. It's a very consistent show. And obviously there's change and character growth and all of that. But the formula of a season 7 episode of, hey, we came across this planet and we can help these people, but we're going to be gone in a day. Like, that's kind of there the entire run. If it had really changed, it would have been, again, probably more like Battlestar Galactica, where, Voyager is more of a flotilla of starships towards the end. It's a community that are flying together off to different destinations. Like, obviously for budget, that's a lot more to accomplish, but everything is, they're the master of the reset button. I mean, they even have an amazing 2-part episode that hits the biggest reset button I think we've seen in Trek.
No, I just want to throw this out because we are Battlestar Galactica does not change much. I just want to, as a, like, if you watch that miniseries and I show you the last season of BS, you're not going to be like, well, a whole new show. It's like, oh, okay, so they stayed the same, right? Over 4. Well, I just wanted to throw that out.
At its core, it doesn't change, but I will say BSG is better about, like, things that change, little things that change, stay changed. Yeah. I think that's the change I'm talking about. Not like it's a totally different type of show. It's more like, we blew up that ship. You're never going to see that ship again. Yeah. Those people are dead. Yeah. The impact is now part of the story, whereas that is not the case with Voyager. I mean, even the episode where, like, the Doctor's memory gets jiggered and he's all like, having to deal with it. Yeah. We never talk about that ever again. Great episode, but it's still an episodic beat, and then we move on.
Like, even the nature of the show, for example, in TNG, where we mentioned they added more sets after season 1, or Deep Space Nine when they had the Defiant come in, so they had some stuff to build out there. With Voyager, like, we had the ship, and that was it. Like, they did do the Delta Flyer later on, but it's much smaller.
Astrometrics, Daniel. I'm sorry, does that not the
entirely about Astrometrics? I literally forgot that set.
Literally built the new character ASAT.
That's right.
7 comes with the Astrometric.
Did they go there much after that? I really don't remember them spending.
No, they go there. They go there a lot. That's where 7 stays.
She lives there.
She doesn't have a bridge. It is.
She lives in that corner.
She has her alcove.
The alcove,
and she gets like 2 sets. She gets the alcove set and the Astrometrics. But no, that's where she spends most of her time because she doesn't have a bridge station until much, much later. They give her that little pad.
I remember, like, them being there in Astrometrics was when during the conspiracy theory episode, and Seven is spouting off all these conspiracies. For some reason, that sticks out in my brain. That's what I remember.
I mean, they use it in when they're using the micro wormholes to contact Earth.
Okay,
they use it a lot. Yeah. Honestly, it's funny if you think about it. After the astrometrics lab, we don't go to the conference room ever. We are never in that room because it doesn't have a giant screen, and we never see things like that on the main bridge view screen. Again, obviously, for obvious reasons, it makes total sense. It's here's our PowerPoint room. Where should we have this meeting discussing our future? To the PowerPoint room. And usually it's Seven that's discovered the thing we need to PowerPoint. So
that's right. I'm thinking of it because they did use the PowerPoint sometimes in the conference, but in my mind, it's a very small screen. Even compared to the Enterprise
I can barely
D.
remember what it looks like. I can't at all.
It's like this, and even the Enterprise D was like this, and Voyager's the back panel. Let me show you in this corner. And Janeway's like, why isn't the screen closer to me?
That would have been funny if they were our screen was damaged in the caretaker event. So here's a giant pad that we've glued to the wall, slightly askew. Got to make it work.
The whiteboard.
And maybe that's the nature of Star Trek, as so far as it's hard to justify physical change to a ship when you live in a world of replicators. I would have loved if oh yeah, Deck 12 looks like trash and there's wires everywhere and it's always going to look bad because it got major damage. We don't have a space dock to service for repairs, but in a replicator society, there's no reason to not have a pristine ship at all times.
Now, Darren, you just made me imagine that on Voyager, it's established on, we'll say Deck 12. On Deck 12, it was damaged beyond repair.
Deck 12.
It was just damaged beyond repair. But just like Fraggle Rock, there was a Mount trash heap there, and Naomi goes to visit this thing of wires that comes alive and just gives her life advice. I can see it in my mind perfectly.
Well, I'm trying to remember which was the deck that blew up when the whole deck blew up and exploded into space, which was an amazing shot. But it was the haunting of Deck 12. So that's what I'm thinking of because something lived on Deck 12.
But not you watched because season 1's so short, but if you watch season 2, other than the Kes 7 switch, and then you watch season 6 episode, it would be the same show, more or less.
That would actually be a really interesting thing if you found a person who had never watched Star Trek and that is an adult, and you edited or not edited, but you gathered 5 episodes from Voyager and purposely put them in a non-aired order and showed them to them if they could detect the order. I don't think they could.
I don't think so.
That map in the back of Janeway's ready room, it looked like where the Voyager was close to Earth.
They didn't have a map. They didn't have a map. I wish they had. It should have been hey, let's pull up where. I mean, I get not committing to stuff like that on television because it's not a good idea to force yourself into a box. But yeah, she should have had a massive map so we knew where we were on our Voyager.
All right, so we're not quite. So, Daniel, you want to set up Enterprise for us? Which I think may break our scale here, but you go ahead.
Yeah. Are we just doing the Berman era? Because I feel like we can't really get into maybe Discovery.
We could try.
But I don't think there's much past Discovery we can do.
We could always save New Trek for later.
I mean, Picard. I'll throw that out there, but go ahead. So, Daniel, Enterprise.
Enterprise. Let's see. Well, Enterprise is what different all 4 seasons. I mean, you cannot watch an episode of that. This is the exact opposite of Voyager, where it's you watch a random episode, and you might not be able to tell when it is. You would definitely be able to tell an Enterprise episode from what's happening and who's on screen and what's going on, because all 4 of those seasons, 1 and 2 are pretty similar. But there's still a shift sort of in season 2. But either way. 3 is obviously very obvious, not the other 4. And then 4 is full of, all the stuff we got in season 4. So a lot of change in Enterprise, I think, for sure. Never really, got to establish a baseline. I don't think. I think it was sort of up and down all over the place, tonally and all that sort of stuff. But still, just lots of changes.
I think Enterprise is. It's like very much like TOS, where it's very episodic, but their through line is, and here's an episode that builds towards the founding of the Federation, and then we're back to like episode of the week, and it's like, oh, but then we had to go back to Earth, and it's so that's kind of the overall arc that we get, and then season 3 comes and just smashes that, and it's like war has come to Star Trek again.
Not just to Star Trek, to Florida.
It knows what it is. And then I'm probably exaggerating because I don't have it in front of me. Season 4, but like season 4 feels like it has like 3-parter, 2-parter, 1 episode, 3-parter, 2-parter.
You're right.
One
it's
episode.
More mini arcs.
Yeah,
that's a good point. I forgot about that.
Well, yeah, season 3, a whole season long arc. Season 4, little mini arcs, and season 1 and season 2 are actually episodic, more or less episodic. So
you kind of have 3 flavors as far as the episode construction.
Yeah,
that's a good point.
I thought it's interesting. It does not have a baseline. Yeah, and again, we will never know. But say Enterprise got 7 seasons, how would we look back on it? Because then we would have, if we still had 1, 2, 3.
I think
4
you would see
4 be 4 to 7, or I
think it would be 4 to 7. I think you would continue the mini arc, maybe throw in a Q, like not exactly a Q, but some sort of master villain over a season or 2. Well, actually,
future guy.
No. I take that back because we do kind of know where it was going. I
was going to say season 5 would have been with Shran. With the new Enterprise. So at least at later seasons of Enterprise would have been a different flavor, another new flavor.
I think that would have
new
become
season titles
really good
ship model, right?
Yeah.
It'd have been the Romulan War. It would have been a very different show.
Yeah, there's like halfway through the intro, it goes into space dock, and you see them like just bolt on the lower part, and then it flies out again.
Wait! Are you saying it's like? Are you saying it's like those race cars that go into the pit stops and they get all their
it goes into space dock, it's like as it's coming out, it's got like a flame decal on the side, like now we can go to warp.
You see the Vulcan ship and Andorian ship go by really fast.
Just refitted is on the back of the nacelle. Yeah,
it's like NX01.1. It's like why would you put that?
I love it.
On? It's like because it can't be the NX02 because that's the Columbia. So,
NX01 final.
Final dot.
For real this time.
Engineering section. Use this one. Oh man. No, I think that would have been season 5 onward would have been, and honestly, I'm sad about that because I think what Jeffrey Combs would have brought with Tran, and he would have become the breakout character he would have been the Doctor for the rest of he would have been Worf. He would have been the main lens that we see the show through, I think. But it wasn't to be.
So, not that we're short on time, but we're sort of not long on time either. So we'll go a little quick here. So, Darren, I know you haven't watched it all, but what little you have watched of Discovery, little change, medium change, lots of change.
Yeah, I mean, when they jump into the 32nd century, it's a little bit of a change, but I think
the captain changes every year.
Yeah, right. I mean, as Daniel was saying, like, you can't really tell which season you're in. Oh, you can tell which season you're in with Voyage,
or even what part of the season.
Discovery.
I think, and I'm not critiquing, but like even season 1 is 2 halves. Like it's Klingon part and it's Mirror part, and it's
right. Yeah, no, definitely Discovery has a lot of change, and I don't begrudge it that. I don't feel like in modern Trek you should be, it's trying to find itself and it's just throwing everything out and changing it. It's like, no, it's okay to have a big change. and try something different. I mean, I don't think you could. I mean, you can have your opinion, but I don't think it's fair to judge Discovery as changing too much, but then looking at something like Picard and being like, oh, it changed just enough. It's like, no, Picard completely changed as well. Every single, like, so much so it's almost 3 different shows. But, you know, that's getting ahead. But yeah, no, Discovery, I mean, yeah, it changes a lot. Probably more so than any other show that has at least a 5-season run.
Well, you modified it. I'll do Picard real quickly. You'll be doing Lower Decks, Daniel. So Picard, yeah, as we've said, and this is my personal opinion, totally different show every season. For better, for worse, depending upon your taste, your mileage may vary. But like, first season it's a story, and then second season is time travel. Nothing to do with Star Trek, really. I mean, I know it sounds like I'm critiquing. I don't mean it. I mean, there's nothing to do with the Star Trek universe. It's just the characters, but they're not doing Star Trek stuff. They're doing action stuff. And then season 3 is, I don't think it's enough to say a fan service, because I fight back about that, because I'm like, you take away the Enterprise D, which is in like 30 minutes of the whole 3rd season, and then yes, you get the characters back, but like, I mean, it's all about Jack. That's not, you know, fan service. So, I mean, like, to me, it's a whole different story than season 1. But anyway, but to me, very, very different show, depending on which season. I can easily tell what season of Picard I'm in and edit if you show me an episode. Turn off the sound. I can watch. I'll tell you.
Which is the one with Picard, and he's wearing an eye patch, and he's doing a little dance.
Yeah. Mon ami, I am French now.
I hated that episode. Okay. All right. So that was the quickie. Daniel, Lower Decks.
Lower Decks is a cartoon. It doesn't change at all. It's all the same.
What?
No,
What? What?
No, it's
They literally have different pips.
We get different pips, but that was season 3, season 2.
Yeah.
No, it was season 3, I think. Yeah. You know, it's there's definitely lots of changes for sure. The first 2 seasons felt a little samey to me, but I think definitely past season 2, they've definitely sort of been charting their own course into their own direction. So
I mean, I think back to the first 2 seasons, like you said, Daniel. I remember us critiquing it of like, oh, look, an episode where it's Boimler and Mariner go off and do A, and Tendi and, you know, Rutherford do B, like same pairings all the time. And I remember us critiquing it for that and being like, shake it up. And then they finally did. But yeah, I would say that is kind of a change to me, is that once they really start to shake up the pairings, because it does stay like that A-B pairing for a long time in the beginning.
And we got T'Lyn.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
And Guji.
The 5th Power Ranger showed up, and now we can form the Mega Starship.
I've not seen T'Lyn use her flute yet for her.
Yeah, she totally is the White Ranger Dragon Sword. It's the 5th one out.
Yeah. No, yeah, I think not a radical change, but I think it's not even more settling, because I think it's the way they tell the stories. To me, it's an Orville thing, which people may agree or disagree with, where they got more comfortable with telling like legitimate stories as far as just a comedy. There's nothing wrong with the comedy, but this is like, we're going to make you feel like there's actual stakes here, and there's drama, and there's and so not a radical change. You could say it's just settling in, but I think you can kind of tell.
I think Lower Decks also, and I'll give it props for this, I think it is one of the most balanced shows as far as, yeah, it obviously is. It's like the slight difference of, we're telling us a 10-episode story, but the chunks of it are going to feel episodic enough that you're going to have a favorite. I feel often other television or even Star Trek won't hit that right balance, where it will either feel very, you know, linear, and you're like, oh, well, yeah, this is cool, but I'm not going to ever watch episode 2 because nothing really stands out in episode 2, you know. But with Lower Decks, I think it does nail that balance where, yeah, episode 2 is part of the bigger story, but it's also stands on its own, and you could watch just that and not feel like you're missing out on the overall plot. That's my view.
Darren, what's your quick thought? Strange. I know you talked a little bit. Strange New Worlds, changed little, changed medium, changed.
I mean, we only got 20 episodes, guys. We don't have a lot to go on. But no, it's no. I still will say it changes. I think a lot of people will say between season 1 and 2, it's taking a little more risks. It's becoming a little more of its own show. You're starting to add more and more TOS characters, and you're going to get even more of that in season 3. So, this is like the hardest one to judge, I feel. Maybe because it is still in production and it's like so short. It's like saying, let's judge. It's like judging the animated series. Yeah, it's just like there's not enough meat to form an opinion. So I'm going to defer that for another couple of years, and then we'll get back to it.
I have no problem. It hasn't changed at all. What about you, Daniel?
Yeah, I mean, I honestly, I'm trying to think of any changes between season 1 and 2, and the only thing I can think of is the engineer that died. And now now of course we've seen in season 3 that the Scotty comes in. So to me it feels a very consistent show. The tone, like it hit that tone early and sort of holding on to it with all of its fingers. So it feels to me, it doesn't feel like it's changed a ton. But again, like Darren says, the sample size is very small. Like this is literally less than one season of TNG or Deep Space Nine or something like that. That's what we've got to deal with here. So it's really sort of tough to say.
I mean, I would close up Encounter with Prodigy, which has only had 2 seasons, but that's 40 episodes. So I feel like I'm pretty. In my opinion, it hasn't changed a lot. But, and again, we were discussing this earlier. The tone has somewhat changed in that I feel like the first season is a kid show, hand quotes. Second season, I mean, they're starting to hit that upper boundary of a kid. I mean, that's not a complaint as an adult viewer.
Plus.
But there's some episodes, and again, I don't know, I was 10 and 9 when I watched TNG, so, I'm not thinking it's going to scar the kids for life. But I'm just saying, to where a sensitive parent of I don't know, 7-year-old. I mean, some of those episodes would be like, we'll think about this one.
To be fair, Philip, the kids who watched season 1 when it first came out are now 27 years old. So I don't know if that makes you feel old, but that's just how long that show has been in production. So,
yeah, and that's not a complaint. I'm just saying it's a slight change that I've seen in Prodigy. I don't know, Darren, you are the parent.
I mean, it's so long. It's funny that I know it doesn't really matter, but technically Prodigy came out before Strange New Worlds, a year before. But it feels like Strange New Worlds has been around longer because it's been more consistent.
Cool. All right, well, we'll close it there. I'm sure there's more to say. And this is all to say, nothing wrong with consistency. I don't want anyone to take that away. If you don't change, you're suck. There's nothing wrong with it. It's like your favorite food. If so it is every time you pick it up. Nothing wrong with that. But, certain shows have taken other directions than others. So. All right, Daniel, if folks want to talk to you about which way they can change their uniform the best, where can they find you?
Well, there is only one good way to change a uniform, and that is not to change it at all. They can find me at One Up Dan. That's the number 1, not the one.
And Darren, if folks want to talk to you about how Lower Decks will change its last title sequence, where can they find you?
Oh, there you go. We're going to add V'ger is going to show up. The cloud, the Messianic cloud is just going to envelop that entire scene. But they can find me at drsci-fi.com, DRSCIFI.
And if folks want to talk to me about how we can change our podcast co-host, they can find me on Instagram at CAPT.
What kind of show is this? What's going on?
Sorry, guys, you wanted lots of change. It sounded like so.
You came up with this topic, fella.
I heard the way you were scoring. We'll do some Battlestar Galactic things here. I don't know which one of you are going to die. So, but I have it says 3 in the background on my whiteboard over here. So we'll see what happens
for now until next week.
So yes, until next week. I'm Philip Gilfus.
I'm Daniel Prue.
And I'm Darren Moser.
Stranded here on City Alpha 3.